When Grant looked at his bank account and saw just 10 Indian rupees left, something broke inside him. But not in the way you'd expect. It wasn't defeat, it was a snap, a realization that the system he was playing in wasn't built for financial freedom. He packed up his pride and moved back into his parents' house, a place he thought he'd left behind for good. That moment, though drenched in embarrassment, cracked open a new level of awareness. It's often in rock-bottom moments that your money mindset either shatters or transforms. See, most people freeze when their world collapses, but not Grant. Instead of wallowing, he started asking the kind of questions that lead to breakthroughs. What have I been taught about money? And is any of it actually true? These weren't surface-level thoughts. He began unraveling his subconscious money blocks, the quiet beliefs that kept whispering, "You're not meant to be wealthy." That shift from victim to architect is where the financial psychology game really begins. Scarcity versus abundance mindset? This is where the battle gets real. His first step wasn't glamorous. No quick wins, no viral success. Just pure introspection and the guts to admit that his money beliefs were outdated and inherited. He didn't blame the economy or luck. He rewired his thinking, brick by brick. The rich versus poor mindset isn't about how much cash you've got. It's about how you respond when that cash disappears. And in that tiny room at his parents' place, Grant quietly began to reprogram his mind for wealth, which leads to what he did next, and how it completely changed the game. Once Grant realized his old thinking wasn't serving him, he didn't just wait around hoping for a miracle. He hit the books. Not just any books, though. He devoured titles like The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin, and Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He knew the right knowledge could reshape his financial psychology and sharpen his wealth mindset. He wasn't chasing money, he was studying the patterns of those who mastered it. For 5 straight years, he became a full-time student of success. And no, we're not talking about some cozy reading nook and a cup of tea, we're talking obsession. He tried, failed, pivoted, and kept going. From launching startups to flipping odd jobs, Grant put theory into action. The millionaire habits he picked up weren't just in books. They were in the way he lived his day-to-day, constantly experimenting with real-world money beliefs. And here's the twist. Most people think knowledge is power, but that's only half the truth. Applied knowledge is what builds empires. By stacking skills, building cash flow, and facing his subconscious money blocks head-on, Grant didn't just make money, he made momentum. Within 5 years, he wasn't broke anymore. He was sitting on 7.5 Indian rupees crore. The man who once had 10 Indian rupees in his account had cracked the code, and that mindset shift set the stage for a bigger, bolder move coming next. Most folks think financial freedom is some mystical destination only reachable by lottery winners or tech moguls. But Grant, he broke it down into 7 actionable stages, almost like a video game you can level up through. It starts simple. The express stage, where the goal is to just cover your own bills. Nothing fancy, just independence from mom and dad's wallet. Even this small shift can rewire your money mindset and give you a taste of control. Next comes breathing room, which means having a few months of expenses saved up. That alone separates the reactive from the proactive. Then stability, where you're debt-free and holding at least 6 months of expenses. That's where the financial psychology shifts from surviving to strategizing. From there, flexibility steps in 2 years of living expenses saved or invested. At this point, your subconscious money blocks begin to fade. You're not in panic mode, you're in positioning mode. Then comes the big leap, financial independence. Your investments are covering your lifestyle, whether that's dividends from blue-chip stocks or returns from index funds like the Nifty 50. But Grant didn't stop there. He defined endangered paths, the place where you've built enough to fund your entire life, even through downturns. That's not just a rich versus poor mindset. That's legacy thinking. And it shifts everything about how you view time, which brings us to one of the biggest mindset flips the wealthy live by. Here's the deal. Most people treat money like gold and time like trash. But the wealthy, they flip that script completely. Grant learned quickly that every minute you waste chasing 100 Indian rupees coupons or standing in lines for discounts is a trade-off against your most precious asset, time. That's not just a scheduling issue. It's a core part of your wealth mindset. Millionaire habits aren't just about earning more. They're about valuing time like royalty. He once said something that hits hard. If you wouldn't trade 500 Indian rupees to get an hour of your life back, your priorities are broken. Harsh? Maybe. True? Absolutely. This is where financial psychology separates those with an abundance mindset from those stuck in scarcity. The poor often grind endlessly to save a little, while the rich invest that time to create more. And it's not because they have money, they made time valuable before the money came. Think about it. Jeff Bezos didn't become a billionaire by cutting coupons. He asked, "How can I create something once and earn from it forever?" That single question is a mental reprogramming. Whether you're freelancing, running a small biz, or juggling a 9-to-5, the shift comes when you stop measuring effort in rupees and start measuring it in hours. And once you make that shift, you'll be ready to play with numbers in a whole new way. One of the biggest breakthroughs Grant had was realizing that financial freedom isn't just a dream. It's math. Cold, clear, liberating math. He discovered the 25x rule, a powerful thinking model used by early retirees and savvy investors. Basically, take your annual expenses, multiply them by 25, and that's the amount you need invested to live off your returns. It's not some millionaire-only secret. It's simple logic that rewires your financial psychology from endless hustle to strategic peace. Let's say you spend 10 Indian rupees lakhs a year. Multiply that by 25 and boom, you're looking at a 2.5 Indian rupees crore target. Sounds big? Sure. But now the goal has a shape. Suddenly, you're not just working for a paycheck, you're building your exit number. This is how you reprogram your mind for wealth, by giving it a mission that makes the grind meaningful. And no, you don't need risky crypto to get there. FD ladders, index funds like Sensex or Nifty 50, and dividend-paying stocks can all play a role. Grant split his investments across simple vehicles. 60% in index funds, 30% in fixed deposits for stability, and 10% in cash or liquid funds for flexibility. The idea was clear: let the numbers work while he lived. Most people chase money reactively. The rich, they think in systems. When your thinking model is built on time-tested formulas instead of emotion, you gain an edge that most people don't even know exists. And when you stack that with smart spending habits, you create something powerful. Grant figured out something most people never stop to think about. Wealth isn't built by cutting lattes. It's built by mastering the big three: housing, transportation, and food. These aren't just line items on a budget. They're the heavyweights that quietly drain your future. So instead of obsessing over 200 Indian rupees expenses, he went after the monsters eating 20,000 Indian rupees at a time. This is where financial psychology meets common sense. Want real savings? Start where it counts. Take housing. Instead of upgrading every time his income rose, Grant house-hacked. He rented a duplex, lived in one unit, and rented out the other. That one decision covered most of his living expenses. It wasn't glamorous, but it was smart. Same with his car. He skipped the fancy EMIs and picked up a reliable used Honda, then funneled the saved cash straight into index funds. This isn't scarcity, it's strategic abundance. When it came to food, he kept it simple but smart. Batch cooking, zero waste planning, and skipping the endless takeout trap. It's not about never enjoying life. It's about choosing when and where to indulge with intention. Rich versus poor mindset? This is it in action. The poor often spend emotionally. The rich spend deliberately. And when you stack these decisions right, suddenly you've freed up capital to do something exciting. Grant didn't just save, he built. That's the part most people skip. Saving gets you security, but building gets you freedom. He started side businesses while working full-time, testing ideas on weekends and reinvesting every rupee. One of his first wins, a simple flipping business, buying used electronics, cleaning them up, and reselling online. It wasn't flashy, but it generated cash flow, and that's what matters when you're reprogramming your mind for wealth. Later, he explored real estate, not by buying flashy condos, but by renting out rooms on short-term platforms, testing the waters with Airbnb before committing fully. That's the financial freedom mindset in action. Start lean, learn fast, scale later. He met a graphic designer who walked dogs after work and turned it into a six-figure company. These aren't anomalies. They're examples of what happens when you ditch the scarcity versus abundance mindset trap and start treating time like an investment. And then there's the kicker. Investing wasn't just a side hustle, it became the engine. Grant split his surplus cash into diversified assets. Real estate for passive income, index funds for steady growth, and small business ventures for upside. He wasn't gambling. He was building streams. Because the rich don't rely on one income, they build 5, then 10. And when that starts working, well, now you've got the foundation to see why some people escape the rat race and others stay spinning. Now you've seen it. The blueprint, the mindset, the exact habits that separate financial freedom from financial frustration. This isn't about luck or secret formulas. It's about how you think, what you believe, and the actions you take every single day. You can stay stuck in the same old money beliefs, or you can reprogram your mind for wealth starting right now. So, ask yourself, which one of these shifts are you going to apply this week? Will you start valuing your time more? Will you finally launch that side hustle you've been sitting on? Or maybe, just maybe, you'll stop chasing small savings and start building big systems. Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear from you. And if you're ready to keep learning, growing, and unlocking the rich versus poor mindset difference, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Also, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share this video with your friends, your family, or anyone stuck in survival mode. Let's help more people shift into a financial freedom mindset together.